Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. For our symposium session today, which is paper presentation, please be reminded to use the comment section below the UITM Lacquer Branch official YouTube channel should you have any questions to our presenters regarding the topics of presentation. The committee and I will be the one reading them and will try to convey the questions during the Q&A session after the speaker has completed the presentation. Next, the link for you to fill in your attendance will also be made available in the comment section at the end of the session today. Failure to do so will result to no attendance being recorded. Above all, please remain calm as you are not alone and others are watching as well as just like you. For your kind consideration and cooperation in ensuring the smooth flow of our symposium session today, thank you very much in advance. Yang berbahagia, Profesor Dr. Abdul Halim Muhammad Noor, Rector of UiTM Cawangan Melaka, Dr. Fahmi Abdul Rahim, Assistant Rector of UiTM Cawangan Melaka, Melaka City Campus, Yang Berusaha, Dr. Ahmad Fadli Arham, Head of Faculty of Business and Management, UiTM Cawangan Melaka, Yang Berusaha, Mr. Nur Azlan bin Haji Anwar, Chairperson of Gviids 2021, and finally, the representative from our partner universities, distinguished guests, symposium participants, ladies and gentlemen. Salam sejahtera, salam UiTM di hatiku. Welcome to the Global Virtual Invention, Innovation and Design Symposium 2021. On behalf of our organizing committee, I am Dr. Geeta, who would like to extend our warm welcome and heartfelt appreciation to all our honorable guests, esteemed participants, and dearest ladies and gentlemen to the Gviids 2021 organized by Faculty of Business and Management, Malacca City Campus, today with the theme Igniting Innovations and Technology. This Global Virtual Invention, Innovation and Design Symposium, Gviids 2021, is the first ever virtual symposium hosted by the Faculty of Business and Management of Malacca City Campus. This program is designed to encourage creative presentation and confidence of students presenting their innovative products, which was held yesterday during our first session in this symposium. And today is the second session of the symposium where four authors were invited to present their papers which have been reviewed for publication in the Jobs Journal of UiTM Cawangan Melaka later on. In addition, this program will also involve participation from lecturers and undergraduates in the forum segment tomorrow. Apparently, tomorrow will be the last session where an academic forum entitled Challenges and Opportunities of Digitalization on Creativity and Innovation During COVID-19 Pandemic will be held together with the closing ceremony. Well, undoubtedly, the theme Igniting Innovations and Technology aims to gather students, academics, and researchers alike from related fields of expertise to come together and share the ideas, knowledge, as well as the innovations. Ladies and gentlemen, we are indeed very lucky to have our four prepared presenters for our Gviids 2021 symposium today. With further ado, I would like to invite Honor Isda Amelia to present her paper entitled The Impact of Skills Having Towards Entrepreneurs' Perception Among Students and Graduates at Private University College Malacca. Please welcome Honor Isda Amelia.
All right. Assalamualaikum and good evening for everyone. Thank you for Dr. Geeta as a moderator. And first of all, I would like to thank to the organizer because for this opportunity to present for today. And our paper is a collaboration research teamwork between UiTM Alor Gajah, which is from Mr. Norazman bin Harun, and also from College University Islam Melaka, together with Mrs. Maria Muhammad Esa and also myself. And now for today, I will present for this paper. So the title we are going to share is all about the impact of skills having toward entrepreneurs' perceptions among students and graduates at Private University College Melaka. So next. All right. Here are the contents of our slides. Okay. We'll be started with introductions, problem statement, and then research objective, and a little bit about literature review. Then we will show our theoretical framework, and then also about methodology, findings, recommendation, limitation, and also references. Okay, next. All right. As we know that entrepreneurship is now an alternative route for graduates to place themselves in the labor market. Also, the existence of the digital platform revolution give new meaning in this entrepreneurial field. Students' perceptions of entrepreneurial careers need to be changed so that they will be interested in becoming an entrepreneur after graduates. So it will be related with the government mission to produce more job creators among the graduates. All right. It was also related with the National Entrepreneurial Policy 2030, whereas Malaysia want to be as an entrepreneur nation in 2030. Therefore, this study want to know the perception of students and graduates related to the entrepreneurship perception in institution of higher learning and analyze the relationship between these entrepreneurship skills and entrepreneurship perceptions. Okay, next. All right, about the problem statements, we know that the unemployment rate increased, okay, in 2019, according to the Tracer study released by Moher. It was found that 13.8% of our graduates are employed. Then the current situation, this highest unemployment rate was influenced by the impact of the COVID-19 pandemics. It was caused by the Movement Control Order, MCO, because of the COVID-19. So from the statistic data by the Department of Statistics Malaysia, found that in December 2020, unemployment rate increased to 4.8%, and January 2021 increased again at 4.9%. So therefore, entrepreneurship education is important in changing the direction of graduates to be more innovative and skills in creating their own jobs. Okay, next. All right, other than that, to improve entrepreneurship education in higher education institutions, the perception of students and graduates will be taken to triggering entrepreneurship intention among them, especially the skills that entrepreneurship education has formed them to become entrepreneur. So, according to the Iklima et al., and stated that the introduction to entrepreneurship education in university in Malaysia has been done by the government to expose students as a job creator. Nevertheless, the entrepreneurship education provided by the university is still underestimated by most graduates. In fact, most of the graduates are found not to see the business opportunity offered in the field of entrepreneurship as a profession that can guarantee their future. Okay, next. All right. So this is we will go through to the research objective. Okay. So our research objective are to determine the level of entrepreneurs' perceptions, to analyze the relationship of skill having toward entrepreneur perception, and also to identify the most dominant skills towards entrepreneur perception among students and graduate at private university college Melaka. Okay, next. Okay, this is our literature review. So the first one is according to Zhenzia Peng, Genshu Lu, and Hui Kang, 2012, mentioned that entrepreneurs' intention play a very important role for a person to get involved in the field of entrepreneurship. Entrepreneurial intention can be defined as a mental orientation such as desire. And we know that the desire and hopes can be influence a person's entrepreneurial choice. Okay, the second one is it is supported by the study of Ahmad Firdaus, Muhammad Khatta, and also Diana Farzeha in 2014 that the intention of entrepreneurship reflects the state of mind that starts people to choose from self-employment instead of choosing a paid job. Thus, it can be concluded that the intention of entrepreneurship is thoughts and desires of a person in venturing into a business as their career. Okay, next. Okay, the last one about the literature review is Dr. Ranjana Gujarati et al. 2019 stated that the conceptual entrepreneurship education refers to specific knowledge that nurtures student skills and attitudes to enable them to deal with the life challenges in any situation and and take specific steps to create new trends and opportunities to face those challenges overall in aspect of women's life. This can foster the properties of risk-taking, innovation, arbitrage, and production factor coordination to create new product or services for new existing users in the human community. So entrepreneurship education has also been as a learning process that equips students with traits and competencies such as team spirits, leaderships, problem solving, and negotiation skills, and self-direction, and also management compared to the conventional education, which pay less attention to the skills and practical needs for society. Okay, next. Okay, this is our theoretical framework. Okay, they have eight independent variables. Okay, including decision-making skills, risk-taking capacity skills, communication skills, creativity skills, business plan skills, negotiation skills, sales technique skills, and also knowledge of finance skills that will impact the entrepreneurship's perceptions among students and graduates at private university College Melaka. Okay, next. Okay, in these studies, okay, our methodology is okay, we'll talk about the population first. Okay, the students and graduates at private university college in Melaka. Actually, this is our populations, and the sample techniques is we are using the convenient samplings, and we have around 160 respondents, okay, from 6 faculty, namely Faculty of Innovation and Technology, Faculty of Language and Education, Faculty of Islamic Knowledge, Faculty of Nursing and Health Science, and also Faculty of Hospitality Management. And another one is a Faculty of Science Socials. Okay, this one is from the private university college in Melaka. Our data collection method, we are doing a survey using structured questionnaire through Google Form. So this is our primary data. So next, okay. So methodology, about the methodology, this is about the data analysis. We are using the descriptive analysis, frequency analysis, and also the correlation and regression analysis for the hypothesis testings. Okay, next. Okay, about our finding. Of course, we are using or analyze this data via statistical package for SPSS, okay, version 22. So from the pilot test, the result of the reliability test for this research was 0.815, more than 0.8, which is in the range of excellent and is considered as having good reliability, and therefore it is accepted in this research. And as for the variable consists of 9 items and the Cronbach alpha is 0.8 2.0, 0.820. Okay, so from the analysis, it is clear that all the variables score more than 0.8, which is in the range good and high reliability. So according to Bogi and Sekaran, 2016, the result shows that it can be accepted for this research. Okay, next. Okay, for the demographic backgrounds, this is our respondent profile for 160 respondents. Okay, so we have found that 18.8% is male and 81.2% is females, and a majority respondents answered our research questionnaire is 68.8% is come from diploma students, and 30.6% from degree students, and others maybe is from our alumni and graduate students. Okay, so 99.4% is Malay and 0.6% is from non-Malays. Okay, and this is the percentage following by the faculty. Okay, we can see that 70.6% came from the business faculty, and the rest is from the other faculties, not the business main. Okay, so the last part is a 42.5% is answered maybe respond by the first year students, and 24.4% respond by the second year students, and the rest is for alumni and also the final year students. Okay, next. Okay, for the finding, another finding is the elements of entrepreneur perception among students and graduates at private University College Melaka, shown by the highest number, show that 1 to 5 years after graduation agreed to plan to start own business in the future by recording 67 respondents with the percentage of 41.9%, followed by respondent agreed immediately after graduation by showing 44 respondents, 27 including 27.5%. Meanwhile, there are also respondents who stated that never plan to start own business in the future. That is 13 respondents with a 8.1 percentage. Okay, next. Okay, this is our hypothesis findings. Okay, so we can see that decision making skill have correlations with the entrepreneurship perception and also risk taking skills, but not for the communication skills and not for the creativity skills and also not for the business plan skills. But for negotiation skills have correlations with the entrepreneurship's perceptions, and sales technique skills also have a correlations, but not for the financial skills. Okay, next. All right, so this is the finding for objective 3. Okay, so means that as a result, the most dominant based on model 7, the table coefficient regression backward shown that decision making skill and risk taking skills were dominant skills, and but the most dominant skills toward perception among student and graduates at private University College Melaka is risk taking skill based on our significant value 0.23 from the tables. Okay, next. Okay, so for the conclusion, so this research only analysed the entrepreneurship perception among respondents with this population, which is from one private university college only. So therefore, we need some recommendation for future improvement in doing further research in this area. In future, maybe this research should be applied for different population for widen or making comparison between private and public university. Okay, next. Okay, for the conclusions, the findings show that the levels of entrepreneurial perception among students and graduates at private university college Melaka was moderate. This research objectives also to analyze the relationship of skills havings towards entrepreneurial perception among students, graduates at private university college Melaka. The results stated that 4 variables have relationship, including decision-making skill, risk-taking skills, negotiation skills, and also sales technique skills, and 4 variables have no relationship, which is creativity skills, able to prepare business plan skills, communication skills, and also financial skills towards entrepreneur perception among students and graduates at private University College Melaka. Okay, next. Then others objective is to identify the most dominant skills having toward entrepreneur perceptions among students and graduate at private University College Melaka, and the result conclude that risk-taking skill become the most dominant skills among the variables. Otherwise, they have a few suggestions that can be explored and implemented by focusing in decision-making skills, risk-taking skills, negotiation skills, and sales technique skills as element to insert in teaching and learning. Also in soft skills activities, including the entrepreneurship program and course in order to improve entrepreneurs' perception among students and graduates at private University College Melaka. All right, so next. So I think that's all for our need. The one is only the references that we are able to. So that's
Thank you very much, Puan Nur Izda Emilia, for your exciting presentation today. I open the session to questions from participants. Any questions from the YouTube channel as well? We're patiently waiting for the questions. Maybe I have a question. Oh, you have a question. Okay. Um, from Amira Hazima. Okay. What makes you to choose this topic? Partner Isra, what makes you
Mm.
choose this topic?
Actually, this entrepreneurial education is my field. So that, and another one is related with the government's policy, National Entrepreneurial Policy 2030. And actually, as I told before, that we are going to become as a entrepreneurial nations in 2030. So I'm very excited to explore this field. So that's all. That's why,
Okay.
because I chose this topic.
All right. So I think that makes sense to actually answer the question. Any more questions? Maybe I have a question too to ask. Um, the set skills that you choose, why do you choose that particular set of skills? The creativity skills, the financial skills?
Because that one is the elements of the business plans, and also the elements of the entrepreneurships ecosystems, entrepreneurships the skills that the entrepreneurs need to have.
Okay, so that falls under the entrepreneurs category
Yeah.
of skills. All right. So any more questions? Okay.
Okay.
So now we don't have any questions. Thank you very much, Panorizda.
All right. Thank you.
Okay, so moving on to the next presenter, ladies and gentlemen, we would like to now invite the second presenter of the day, Madam Padmatya Vitasmoro of Kadiri University, with a paper entitled The Ability of Compound Sentences, Translation of English Department Students of UNP Kadiri. For the further ado, please welcome Madam Padmatya.
Thank you for the time. Okay, first of all, I would like to say thank you for time giving to me. Today, I would like to present about our paper, my paper. It is about the ability of compound sentence translation of the English department student of UNP Kediri. Kediri is the city in Indonesia. It is in East Java, near Surabaya. So I choose the title, The Ability of Compound Sentence Translation of the English department student of UNP Kediri. As you know that there are four skills that we need for complete communication. It is referred to listening, speaking, reading, and writing in English. And beside the macro skill of English, there are also micro skill of English such as vocabulary, translation, and others. The skill of translation are become even more important than undesirable. And today's multicultural and multilingual society demands an effective, efficient, and empathic communication between language and culture. In translation, we will meet so many fields in grammar, but I choose compound sentence because it is generally presumed that grammar only help the ESL or English as a second language learner to write correct English, and native speakers do not need the grammar to write without a mistake. And so many grammatical phenomena, such which often create difficulties in the translation process. One of them is how to translate a compound sentence. And then about the literature review, the ability of compound sentence translation means that in the individual capacity to identify the independent clauses of compound sentence. And we also have a previous research, seen the previous research about by JRUCD about contrast analysis of English nominal compound. It is also discussing about compound sentence, but a little bit different with this research. And then about the research methodology, we use a descriptive qualitative case study because there is no administration of or control of treatment as it is found in experimental research. And the location of the research in Universitas Nusantara PGRI Kediri, it is in Jalan Kiai Haji Ahmad Dahlan, number 76, Mojoroto, Kecamatan Mojoroto, Kuda, Kediri. And the subject of the study is the student of the 7th semester student who has taken the translation theory in English department students. And the total number of the subject is 28 students. The researcher used this test as an instrument. A test is the means of measuring the knowledge, skill, feeling, intelligence, or attitude of an individual group. And then in this study, the data are taken by the test translation. The process of data collection are by meeting the student as the subject of the research and then give the test to them and then explain they have to do the test taken about 30 minutes. After the test is finished, the data is collected to the research directly. And then for analyzing the data, the researcher used technique qualitative data, which will be analyzed statistically by the following formula to get the percentage. The formula is P equal F multiple 100%. P is percentage, F frequency of the answer, and N the number of the subject. And the finding from our research show that based on the data, the student ability to translate compound sentence with N, coordinate conjunction 10%, almost perfect, 10% almost perfect, 79% is good, 4% is enough, and 7% is poor. And then the student ability to translate compound sentence with that, 50% is almost perfect, 25% is good, and 25% is poor. And the student ability to translate compound sentence using 40% is almost perfect, and then 65 is enough, and 77% is very poor. And then the student ability to translate compound sentence with so, 54% is almost perfect, 36 is good, and 10% is enough. And then the student ability to translate compound sentence with or, 28% is almost perfect, 54% is good, 4% is enough, 10% is poor, and 4% is very poor. So it can be concluded that the ability to translate compound sentence of English department student of UNP Kediri is different. The ability to translate compound sentence with the conjunction and 10% is almost perfect, 79% is good, 4% is enough, and 7% is poor. And then compound sentence with conjunction but, 50% is almost perfect, 25 is good, 25 is poor. And then compound sentence with conjunction for, 40% is almost perfect, 14% is good, 65% is enough, and 7% is very poor. And compound sentence with the conjunction so, 54% is almost perfect, 36 is good, and 10% is enough. And the last, a compound sentence with the conjunction or, 28 is almost perfect, 54 is good, 4% is enough, and 10% is poor, and the last 4% is very poor. That's all my presentation. I think enough for explanation. Thank you for your attention. Have a nice day. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Thank you very much, Madam Pamatia Tasmoro, for that very precise presentation, I must say. So now we will open for this question session. Let's see, we have a question. All right, we have a question here. Why do you choose compound sentences as your research, not other grammar focus? Thank you.
Okay, I choose compound sentence for my research because there are many grammar focus here, but I see from my student ability to write in English about compound sentence is still bad. That's why I try to make a research in another university to compare to make to prove that actually compound sentence is very. It is easy, but sometimes some students still make a mistake. That's why I make the research to another university to know about the ability of the compound sentence of the students.
Okay, I think that pretty much answered the question.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
So shall we wait for another question? We have any more questions? Okay, I think that's the only question for the day for you.
Okay, thank you for the
Saya
time.
pamit ya. Thank you, doctor.
You're welcome.
Thanks a lot. So moving on to the third presenter of today. We are now going to listen to our third presentation will be delivered by Mr. Helmi Fadli Sham bin Abu Hassan, who will be presenting on his paper entitled Organizational Practices and Employee Engagement, a case of Malaysia Semiconductor Manufacturing Company. Please welcome Mr. Helmi. You, Mr. Helmi.
Okay, thank you, Moderator Dr. Gita. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh, and a very good afternoon to the audience, academicians, and also the listeners for this seminar. Uh, First and foremost, I'm representing my groups comprises of Muhammad Zalani Othman and Miss Nur Nusrah Idris and Dr. Izan Ismail. And the paper that I'm going to present today is entitled Organizational Practices and Employee Engagement, a case of a Malaysia Semiconductor Manufacturing Company. So basically my presentation will be divided into 6 various sections, comprises of the introductions for this paper, comprises of the problem statement, research question, research objective, followed by brief descriptions on the literature reviews. I will further explain and elaborate on the theoretical framework. And then I will briefly describe on the methodology for this paper. And surely at the end, I will explain on the data analysis and sum up the hypothesis summary and the conclusion and recommendation for these studies. Okay, all right. First and foremost, employee engagement is very important in every organizations. It seems very necessary and important to learn information about employee engagement and how to develop a culture of engagement in long-term and sustainable manner. So every employee is the average individual who works together to ensure that the company is safe, efficient, and prosperous. So the brain or the leadership has more performance improvement resources at its fingertips to anticipate and boost interaction patterns according to Shannon 2019. So research conducted by Aon in 2018 explained that the growing engagement is a common obligation of a senior management to ensure that their team members maintains the level of engagement by providing a positive atmosphere, such as the opportunity to learn new skills, optimize their abilities, and decide their career directions. So basically, we can say that employee engagement is a very important matter in order to make sure that the organization can stay competitive and can be helping them in achieving whatever the objective that they have set up earlier. So decrease in the rate of employee engagement in workers globally due to extrinsic work value, variables, and organization culture has enticed and induced our group to further studies on this particular matter. So it is a challenge for the organization to have engaged employees as they need to engage not only the body of the employee, but also the soul and mind, each of them. So for these studies, leadership style, culture of the organizations, and compensation, these 3 variables, is said that play a crucial role in influencing employee towards engagement within the organizations. So for these studies, we try to answer these 3 research objectives. So the first objective is to determine the relationship between leadership style and employee engagement at the workplace. Number 2, to investigate the effect of organizational culture and employee engagement at the workplace. And the third one is to examine the relationship between compensation and employee engagement at the workplace. So based on these 3 respective research objectives, we have derived into 3 research questions, which is there any significant relationship between the leadership style and employee engagement at the workplace? Effect of organizational culture and employee engagement at the workplace, and we try to find out whether there is any significant relationship between compensation and employee engagement at the workplace. For the scope and significance of the studies, basically these studies aims to provide information on the organizational practices which affecting engagement at the workplace in the case of a semiconductor manufacturing company in Malaysia. Significantly, the main purpose of this study is to identify the factors which affect the employee engagement that could lead to employee engagement among workers of the semiconductor manufacturing company. The respondents are chosen at the manufacturing company because in the past studies, it do not provide any specific factors that manufacturing sectors achieve in terms of engaging employee engagement among their workers. Therefore, these studies expect to provide a few informations about what are the factors which affect employee engagement among workers in these particular organizations. So the next part is about the literature review for the relative or respective variables. So the first variables is employee engagements, which is can be defined as a positive feelings that employees have towards their job and motivate them to put more effort into it. This is based on SADC 2014. Organizations that have greater employees engagement automatically have greater profits. Organizations with highly engaged employee experience increase customer satisfaction, profit, and employees' productivity. For the next variables, which is leadership style, various studies have been conducted on this particular matter or variables. Effective leadership style in the workplace, we have a very good communications between leader and employees. Ensuring work engagement and empowerment plays a significant role in employee involvement. So when both of the parties, such as leaders and employee, plays their good roles in the organizations, they would automatically have employee involvement and employee engagement among them. So based on the various studies that have been conducted in these particular variables, we have derived into this hypothesis for these studies, which is there is a significant relationship between leadership style and employee engagement. So this is the first hypothesis. The second one, regarding the organizational culture. So organizational culture is a system where members recognize the meaning that makes up organization different from other organizations. The distinguishing values that they are being held by the workers should be collectively understandable to the veteran and also to the new leaf of the company. This is due to the culture of the company that can change unpredictably according to the top management, according to Robbins 2014. So the next hypothesis for this particular or relative variables is there is a significant relationship between organizational culture and also employee engagement. And the last one regarding the compensation variables. So according to Rashid Assad and Ashraf 2011, compensations are divided into two parts, which are financial and non-financials. So financial compensations includes pay, wages, salary, allowance, or other benefits which involve the direct capital to employees, while non-finance is the benefit which voluntarily given by the organizations, which indirect to the employees such as dental care, vacation, leave, and etc. So the third hypothesis for these studies is basically there is a significant relationship between compensation and employee engagement. So, ladies and gentlemen, this is the theoretical framework for our studies. Comprises of three independent variables and one dependent variables. The independent variables comprises of leadership style, organizational culture, and also compensations. And the dependent variable for these studies are employee engagement. So for the research methodology, we have chosen the convenience sampling technique, which is the studies have been conducted at a non-contrived setting, which we are using the non-probability sampling. So the population for these studies is a Malaysia Semiconductor Manufacturing Company, and the time horizon is cross-sectional. So the data collection methods are using questionnaires by using Google Forms, and the type of studies is descriptive and correlational basis. So based on the questionnaires that have been analyzed, we have derived into this data. So for the data analysis for the demographic profiles, so basically the respondents comprises of 52.6% are female and 47.4% are male. And most of the respondents are having less than 2 years of experience, comprises of 52.6%. And only 8% of the total respondents are having 10 years of working experience and above. In referring to the education levels, 11% are secondary level in terms of education levels, and 1.3% comprises of the respondents who have a degree levels. Okay, so the reliability analysis for the data, based on the result, it shows that most of the variables, employee engagement, leadership style, organizational culture, and compensations, uh, portraying the reliability in terms of the result is good and above. For employee engagement, the Global Alpha shows that it is 0.8%, which signals the good result. The leadership style, 0.8%, which also shows that it has a good result. Organizational culture is 0.7, that we can consider as acceptable, and compensation is at 0.8, which is good. Okay, all right. Okay, so for the research objective and research questions, okay, in order to answer those two elements, okay, we have conducted the correlation analysis and also regression analysis by using SPSS. And the correlation analysis shows that all the variables, which is leadership style, organization culture, and compensation, have portrayed a very good result, which is moderate and above, which is the leadership style. When we compare to employee engagement in terms of the relationship, it shows the figures at 0.6, which is significant in terms of the relationship. The organization culture also shows at 0.653, and the compensation is at 0.511. So based on the regression analysis, it shows that 50.1%, okay, of the variability of the respondents or the data can explain it can explain the variability in the variables. It means that those three, which is the leadership style, the organization culture, and compensations, do have some sort of a relationship or impact, okay, in terms of the employee engagement. Okay, all right. So based on those data that have been analyzed, okay, so these are the hypothesis summary for this research. Okay, so for the hypothesis number one, it shows that there is a significant relationship between leadership style and employee engagement. Means that we accept the hypothesis. So based on the research that have been conducted by Osborne, Hamel, 2017, leaders have been proven to influence and motivate workers through demonstrating clear mission, values, and positive teamwork in agreeable manner to achieve employee engagement among them at the workplace. For the hypothesis number three, there is a significant relationship between organization culture and employee engagement. This hypothesis is also being accepted. Okay, and then the same goes to the hypothesis number three, which is there is a significant relationship between compensation and employee engagement. So all those three hypotheses that we intend to determine the relationship at early stage shows that it is accepted. So for the conclusion of the study found out that the leadership style, organization culture, and composition influence employee engagement in the semiconductor manufacturing industry. So the three variables discussed in the studies only explain 50.8% of the variance, and remaining 49.2% of the variance independent variable was asked and explained in this research. So for the recommendation part for these studies, okay, our group or the researcher recommends that for the future research, it is highly suggestible that the future researcher would, okay, go for other variables to study for this particular element, which is employee engagement, such as learning and development or organizational policy. For the organization recommendation, the top management needs to improve and ensure that their leadership skills are good enough to manage and control their workers. And the future research recommendations, we suggest that the future research or researcher could include other factors that affecting employee engagement among workers at the workplace. Okay, or they could increase the sample size, okay, in order to get more exact views from the respondents, or they could even change the sampling locations. Okay, that may include other organizations with different range of employees, such as another factor. Okay, and then the limitation for these studies comprises of small sample size, lack of control to respondent, and effectiveness of variables. So at the end, I could conclude that employee engagement is actually a very important element, especially when we talk about organizational behavior, when we talk about human resource management and the management, because when employees do engage with the organizations, it shows in terms of the productivity, it shows in terms of the commitment, and it do give an impact to the organization's profit. And the organizations that are able to engage their employees in whatever the jobs that have been given could have a very good human resources, and it will enable them to achieve competitive advantage. So with that, I end up my presentations and open for any questions.
Right. Thank you very much, Mr. Helmi, for an interesting presentation. That was very interesting. And I do agree with you that employee engagement is very important to have a very healthy working environment, which will help, get together with the employer and employees, which is very, very important. So, open for question session. We have a question here in Helmi. We have a question from Nurul Ain. Why do you choose semiconductor manufacturing company?
Okay, thank you for the questions. So basically, SME is considered as the backbone of our industry in Malaysia. So semiconductor is, I think, the most dominant industry in the SME or in the industrial sector in Malaysia. Okay, so as the main contributor to our country GDP and so on, so we need to have a very good semiconductor company, or we need to have a very good player in semiconductor industry. So the thing is, most semiconductor industry, they produce the same thing. Okay, the diode, transistor, everything. So the thing that differentiate between this industry is actually the workforce, the human resource. So when we talk about the human resource, the main element in ensuring that the organization do have a very competitive or are in good shape to compete with other company, especially other semiconductor industry, is having a human resource that totally engage with the organizations. So I think the reason why our group choose this industry, because we think if we can, how do you say, improve ataupun or we try to make sure that all workers in semiconductor industry are engaged, by then it will enable the industry to become better, okay, and then have a very competitive position in the future.
Okay, thank you. Thank you,
Okay.
Helmi. I think that's a
All right.
very honestly clear response, I guess, from you. That's very clear and detailed. Thank you very much. Shall we open for another questions? If we have any? Okay, and Helmi, there's a question from Dr. Mastura. What are the current issues regarding this research?
Previously, a lot of researchers have been researching into this particular matter, which is employee engagement. Okay, due to the current situation, the pandemic, the exercise by that being practiced by the industry in terms of retrenchment, layoff, and so on, it do give a bad impact in terms of employee involvement. So it really shows based on research, it shows that people tend to not to be engaging at their workplace. Okay, why? Because a lot of factors such as compensation, such as the culture, which I've already explained just now. Okay, so the current issues I think in this particular matter is the decreasing intention among people in terms of engaging. So the employee, they go to work, and they work very hard, but then in terms of engagement it's not being there. Means that if we compare the engagement of people before and during the pandemic, so during this pandemic basically the engagement is less than what we are seeing before this. So the issue right now is how the organizations can make sure that their employees can still engage in their job, in their commitment, even though they are getting less paid, even though they are being threatened by layoff exercises, and so on. So I think the issue is the decreasing employee engagement. Okay.
Right. Okay. Thank you, Jahelmi, for that precise reply as well. Shall we see if we have any other questions? Okay. Jahelmi, I think there are no more questions from the participants. Thank you very much. Thank you very much,
You're
Jahelmi.
welcome.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, last but not least, I would like to invite the chairperson of Gviids 2021 himself, Mr. Nur Azlan bin Haji Anwar, to present his paper entitled Children's Stationaries and the Innovation Design and Development of DIY Kit Station. Without further ado, please welcome Mr. Nur Azlan bin Haji Anwar.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi ta'ala wabarakatuh, and a very good afternoon. Thank you very much, Dr. Gita and all committee members for this opportunity. I'll be presenting a paper entitled Children's Stationery and the Innovation Design of Kid Station, a case of parents with school children. This is about a DIY stationaries that we have managed to conduct with a set of manual for children to use themselves and to build themselves with parents and other relatives. I would like to start the presentation today with a statement by a medical doctor at Long Island Jewish Medical Center named Dr. Jones. In New York Times newspaper in 2017 by saying my son keeps losing his pens and pencils and his teacher refuses to keep spares in her classroom, as she was saying that by doing that will only teach the children to be irresponsible. And this sparked the questions and the ideas that we have as whether, it's about the same thing that is happening here. Remember the traditional or viral Malaysian mothers with Tupperware lunchbox when it gone missing in the schools by their children? The same goes here. We are talking about, the stationaries. Now, stationaries are one of the most important tools needed by school children to facilitate their learning processes. That is stated by Zhuang 2015. But as we all know, parents with children of the age group of 4 and 12 years are known to purchase stationaries, and their behavior has reached to an extent that the cost of buying these stationaries has surpassed other basic needs. That is by Ding 2017. But Palan 2017 mentioned that the loss of stationaries among school children frequently happen due to the child carelessness, the stolen or being stolen or being misplaced by the children itself. Now, due to this fact that we have thought about it, and we think that it's good for us to come up with some solutions, if not one to many, and this is the result. And this paper is based on our participation in IIDX in 2018 in Terengganu, and managed to get a gold medal, and later another gold medal in KILEX 2019 Kelantan. And this is the second paper relating to Kid Station. Now, these are the achievements. We managed to get 2 medal goals for this particular topic. We are talking about kid stations, the development of kid stations, the DIY of kid stations. Now, the lost stationaries among young school children appear to be contributed by the child being careless, stolen, frequently happen due to carelessness or being stolen and misplaced. And we always try to connect this one, and it's a stressful situation, especially for parents who will have to buy pencils, rubbers every day, and it become disaster when they misplace something in a rush situation. This is especially stressed by Ding 2017, and this type of negligence will affect parents' budget. And no study have been directly done on impulse buying on books and stationaries, as they say that book or stationaries and other things that is related to their children is okay. But do you know that Zhuang 2015 mentioned that an average of 343 and 20 cents per children are spent to buy stationaries in a year. Just imagine if you have 6 children and they lost their stationaries almost every day. For this one, the purpose of the study is to identify the first one, the importance of having a set of safe stationaries. The second one is to determine the main item parent buy for their children. The third one is to create awareness among parents on the importance of having a smart set of stationaries. And last but not least, to introduce a do-it-yourself innovation called KidStation. Now, drawing on the introduction, the following research questions were proposed. Were parents aware of the importance of their children's school stationery, even though they know and they don't mind spending all their money for children? But, these are the main important things that we want to identify in the first place. The second one is, what were the items parents buy for their children? Was it important for children to have a set of intact stationaries? And the last one is, did KidStation meets parents' needs to minimize the purchase of extra stationaries? Uh, Now, we would say that many families have difficulty in providing their children with everyday school supplies. This includes doctors, lecturers like we, and other parents as well. However, what we don't think of in a period of time, the problem usually is not what immediately come to mind. We are talking about money. Uh, School supplies such as papers, pencils, erasers are relatively inexpensive, but when it would be taxing if parents keep repurchase school supplies on a weekly basis or even daily basis due to the inability of the children to keep them safe. And nowadays we are saying that school children are not only passive bystanders, but they have taken a substantial place in the families and have a major influence on parental buying decisions. We have children asking the parents to buy from grab food every day, and the parents follow the instructions because they don't think it's as an instruction from the children, but the request. However, we would say, especially parents stated that, 2017 stated that these children apply emotional or pressure strategies for influencing their parents to make a purchase. And factors such as psychosocial, cognitive, social, schools, children's development and upbringing reported that children's moral judgment are based on the outcomes of their actions. We would like to focus that these issues are reflected from many factors. The first one is the parenting styles. We would say that family process is very important, where an interaction between parents and also children with joint activities and parents involvement are very important. This is especially stressed by Johari 2011. Now, we would say that the knowledge of parents regarding the child's development, education, and problem solving are often proved to be false, which impedes the detection of development delay, intermitting the chances of early intervention. This is especially stressed by Maxwell 2013. Now, for professionals, the assessment of various development fields, physical, I'm talking about the physicals, the mentals, the psychological, the social, and the sensory development are supported by benchmarks, growth chart. We are talking about the family activities, the family relationship, the joint activities that you do, and all the memories between families. And these are the main factors that reflects the children's development. The second one is environmental factor, which in this case is schools. Schools' connectedness is related to the characteristic that underpin the quality of the schools. We are talking about the average daily attendance, the dropout rate, the classroom size, the educational level of teachers and parents in involvement. Marhanum et al. 2020 stressed that these factors are among things that lead to the children growth, and school also provides opportunities for peer group socialization, and that is why people always debate about homeschool and going to the real schools and face to face. And this is still questionable but not possible that children's habit of losing stationaries could come from this factor alone. The third factor is individual factor. I'm talking about the cognitive. We were saying that can children from 4 to 11 years think correctly, or do they have the Dewey dimensional perspective in thinking, or do they have the ability to solve problem when problems comes towards them? That is definitely not true to a certain extent. And that is why it's very important for us to develop. And we say that this factor refers to the tendency of later elementary school age, especially to think um, to think correctly and to have the more than one dimensional perspective. And we say that cognitive ability is somehow very important to parents as well, because they have to teach their children, especially in spending money wisely, not buying them all the stationaries every day whenever they lost. And I remember her journal, and Dominic 2016 mentioned that financial knowledge is needed by parents to avoid financial problems, especially in this COVID-19 pandemic situation. Last but not least is the psychosocial. We say that this factor, Marhanam again, 2020, mentioned that this factor refers to developing self-esteem, adopting a social approved conventional behavior structure, that cultivating social relationships among peers and achieving autonomy and individualization while maintaining emotions to parents and family. We say that these will lead to your self-esteem to a certain extent, and this self-esteem, if it's not developed, will create social anxiety and will develop more negligence as the child develops. In the literature, we also would like to come up with the idea of do-it-yourself idea. It's called Kid Station, and we are going to talk about the innovative design and development in this paper. We say that in conjunction with this paper, according to the 4 factors that bring up, an idea has been brought up to create a do-it-yourself stationery innovation where children and parents are introduced to few stationery ideas with a safety tool and that are made from the available cheap resources. This DIY innovation, we call it as Kid Station, and the idea concept to reality based on the problem discussed, mentioned earlier, and it mainly targets the preschool and young children to educate them to take care of their stationaries. And we say that Kid Station is the first to introduce the most economical way to stationery intact. These are the research framework, as I mentioned much earlier just now, and this was taken by from Johari et al. 2011. Now, as in methodology, in this study, a design-based research model put up by Ma and Harmon, 2009, that discusses on RIF's model was used as the frame, the design-based research. It has four phases: the analysis of the practical problems by researchers, the development of solutions informed by existing design principles and technology innovations, the iterative cycles of testing and refinement of the solution until it can be used, and last but not least, the reflection to produce design principles and enhance solution. I'm talking about the documentation or at least a manual or step-by-steps of doing the DIY idea. The first phase, we say that a set of questionnaire was developed and distributed. The study was conducted to the suited respondents that are scattered around UiTM Cawang, Kelantan in 2018 staff WhatsApp group, and the questionnaire using Google Form were distributed among lecturers, group, families, teachers, personal business groups, and also BFF groups. And the instrument was used as it is easy to reach the respondents, and analysis was done automatically by the application. The questionnaire consists of questions that are related to children's stationery and its importance to parents. And the last question asked about the newly innovated DIY idea called KidStation. And a short instruction Google Form questionnaire was passed through WhatsApp group, and 120 respondents answered the questionnaire. Now, the second phase was the development of the solution for the practical problem identified in the first phase. Then the second phase is an innovation, or we can say to this extent is an it is the second phase of the DIY called KidStation was designed and developed specifically to address the principal research question. The third phase was the evaluation and testing of the solution, and through several iteration, research was an integral part, and observation and questionnaires with the children itself and the parents are conducted to make sure that we have the things right in the first time. And the fourth and last phase was the documentation and reflection of it. We said that a simple guideline was developed to show a step-by-step process of doing the DIY. Now, the result and discussion, we have the result one of phase one and the result two of phase two, three, and four. This result one talks about the data that we have. We would say that it was found that 99.2% of the total respondents were aware of their children should be equipped with basic stationaries, and that having stationaries are important to their children. Figure 3, it was also found out that the allocation of money by parents in terms of items purchased for the children, it says that 55% of the respondents said that the item purchased for the children are largely allocated for children's stationaries, while 35% of parents' budget for children goes to child clothing. In addition, 6% of the budget goes to electronic games, and 4% are allocated to unhealthy eatables. In figure 4, when we ask about the awareness of the exact cost of child stationaries, it was found that 77.5% of the respondents are aware of the exact cost of the children's stationery, while 22.5% of the respondents did not know the exact cost. This may be due to the perception that school stationeries are inexpensive. However, the respondents realize that their budget of these stationeries are increasing. And figure 5, it was found out that the new DIY product called KidStation, 43 respondents, or 35.8%, agree with the new innovation and were willing to buy the product immediately, while 31.7% agreed that such innovation should immediately exist in the market. In the meantime, 23 of the respondents agreed with the product with small adjustment, while 16% disagreed with the product and they want it to be a DIY instead of a purchase item. Therefore, we came up with this. Figure 6 is the pictures of basic stationery items to be combined, glued to stick together. You can always buy them in the stationery stores or even in the DIY markets and shops. And these are the pictures of simple, innovative, and creative DIY. The first one basically is a complete DIY, kit station DIY, where we have all those stationaries glued and stick together with a step-by-step process. And the second one is an advanced kit station DIY that we constructed and built with recycled clothes. Cloth, I'm talking, as its casing. It's kind of a pouch to resemble all the stationaries. Figure 8 and figure 9 talks about the picture of many children is enjoying herself using DIY kit station with recycled cloth as its casing. And this one is a picture of many parents who buy stationaries for her children to do the DIY kit station themselves with the kids. Ladies and gentlemen, having gone through the process, it was felt that the design-based research built on the principles of stakeholder-centeredness was very effective in developing this kit station. We would say that the factors mentioned much earlier, for example, the parenting style could improve together when they do this DIY stationaries together. The relationship could be bond, and there are many other benefits that could improve the development of the children. And we would say that it's not only about the kid station that we are promoting, it's about you taking your own sweet time together, the quality time with your family, and that will actually build the emotions, the self-esteem, the decision makings in all the development of the children. And this is somehow very important. I must say, you may read it, but I summarize it like that. Any question? Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you for listening.
Thank you very much, Mr. Azlan, for that
Yeah.
very expressive and interesting presentation. That was very expressive, I would say. And
Thank
who would
you.
ever thought that simple stuff such as stationaries could be very impactful on children's development? Who would ever thought
Yeah.
that? Because stationery is a very simple stuff. All right,
Yeah.
thank you. It was very interesting. All
Thank you.
right, so we will now open for our Q&A session. So, should I have any questions? Yes, we have a question from Ms. Intan Maizura. What is the relevance of your work and findings to other research?
Okay. Um, we would want to first. We always, listen to when we go to work every day. We do listen to complaints by parents, especially on stationaries and whatnot. And we would say that, okay, that could be, child is always a child. They will lose everything. They will always come back to your home with all the dramas, the stories, and whatnot. But we forget that we as parents plays an important role in developing this one. And when we talk about this, it's not only about the child, it's about who we are as parents and how we ourselves develop these children. We would say that, okay, the stationaries is always a stationaries and it could lose every time. actually, in the long run, we are talking about the psychology of the child themselves. It's the development of the child. We are saying that, we are careless ourselves. But what we are teaching our our children is very important. Is negligence is something that we want our children to to be brought up with, and that is why we say that it's very important to relate this issue, the loss of school stationaries, and the psychology of it. Maybe I do come from no, my background is human resource management. I'm not in the psychology field, but we would say that, these daily issues could relate to something, and why not uh, take it to a certain extent. And talking about the psychology, we would say that this will be a long term. We are talking about we parents develop our children. And the relevance to it is the development of parents itself in inculcating positive attitudes, the family relationship and whatnot, that are related. Am I answering your questions?
Yeah, should be. Should be answering the questions. All right. That's all. We have next question from Dr. Noor Azri. Hi, Mr. Azlan. Apart from family or environmental and individual factors, what would be others pertinent factors that will lead to this issue?
Very interesting questions. Very interesting question. It's not only about, I can understand the individual, the environmental and family, but I would say there are other issues, but the issues will go back to family again. It's about the parents. It's about the ability of the parents to handle their children. I would say that from the readings that I do, when I did the writing on the literature review, we would say that again, the other factors will go back to family factors, which is the parents itself, the parent themselves. It's about the development of the parents. It's very important. Building the self-esteem of the children, developing, asking them a step-by-step, by step-by-step instructions and whatnot. It will always go back to the parents.
So you're trying to say that there are no other major factors than the family and or the parents or the environment? I
I
mean, there
would
are
say
no
yes.
other.
I would say yes after reading more than 30 articles on this one. I
All
would say
right.
yes. I'm sorry, Dr. Noor Azri. You must be, you must want to have, more questions than that. But after reading more than 30, that could be family again.
So definitely parents play a very significant role in every part of children's development, I guess.
I
That's what
must
you're
say
trying to
yes.
say. Yes.
Yeah.
All right. So thank you, Anchi Azlan. So shall we
Thank
have
you.
any more questions? All right. We have question from Dr. Mastura. What is your future planning on bringing this product to commercialization?
Okay, we have discussed about it after we have won two medals, in 2018 and 19. But since it's a COVID, we even want to collaborate with one of the judges who can supply us with all the stationery product from China. And but immediately in 2000, early 2020, the pandemic, the COVID-19 pandemic struck us. Then haven't we still haven't not say that we discontinued, but we have our plans, but we still haven't. Because of the pandemic, uh, we are waiting for the next step. But I would say we want to have it commercialized. We want to do it more, and we have actually contact from China to provide us with the stationaries with much cheaper costs, and we want to do it more. We want to do it more, and we have plans of it. But as of now, yeah, I just pray that this COVID-19 is declared free.
All of us are praying too for that.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Thank you for the
Okay.
question. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Chazlan. Any more questions? I think we shall wait for a moment for next questions. Okay. It doesn't look like we have no more questions here. Thank you for your presentation. Oh, they have a question here. Yes. Uh, Puan Nur Ain, what are the challenges part to convert the idea to the actual product?
Okay, this is a true story. The most challenges part in converting the idea to the actual product is when you parents are able to make sure that your children put away the tablet, the handphones for about 1 hour. If you manage to do that, you can do this DIY immediately, instantly.
Okay, there will be the challenges you're talking about, which I
Yeah.
agree also. All right. Any more questions? I think that's all. Chazlan, thank you for that Q&A session and that
Thank you so much.
very expressive presentation.
Thank you
Thank you
so
very
much.
much.
Thank you.
All right. Well, look like we have already completed all our presentations for today symposium session. Let us all give a big round of applause wherever we may be to our amazing presenters for their immense sharing today, and to ourselves who are glued to devices till now. All right. I hope everyone is doing fine so far, and thank you for your commitment. Further, I would like to take this opportunity to congratulate and thank the organizing committee for their relentless effort in making our first Global Virtual Invention, Innovation and Design Symposium 2021 possible. Please be reminded that everyone is invited to the academic forum and closing ceremony tomorrow at 2 p.m. The link for tomorrow's session will be given shortly. Before we end our session, I seek all presenters' kind consideration to enable your webcams or mobile cameras for us to virtually pose for a photo in order to commemorate our Gviids 2021 event today. On the count of 3, 2, 1. All right. All right. Okay. Thank you very much. And don't forget to scan the QR code for today's attendance that which will pop up in after this. All right. Okay. That is for your attendance. And thank you very much. See you tomorrow. Have a nice day.